Hey guys, yeah, just want to make a quick video going over some like UI, macro, and keybind stuff that will probably make your life a lot easier when playing this video game that I see a lot of newer or less experienced people don't have set up, or they have their UI in a way that doesn't display like important information to them, um, which is not ideal. Um, You don't have to do anything too fancy, but it's good to have like the bare minimum. Um, so one of the big things is not having a chat window set up that has like important mob ability emotes and things like that filtered to it. And like a lot of people have certain things like it's filtered to like a combat spam damage number spam window. Um, so generally, I'd recommend everybody like this chat to window here is the one that I use for this purpose. Um, I have it filtered to show emotes and other, as well as NPC and rage. Um, it'd also be a good idea to add like or NPC rampage. And NPC and rage are kind of the two big uh main things that a lot of like custom scripted abilities will go to is NPC and Rage, other, or like NPC Rampage. My NPC in Rage I think goes to this main window. Yeah. So just having those filtered out to its own separate window so that you can see when a mob is doing, you know, most dangerous mob mechanics are kind of telegraphed in some way. Um, and it's really useful information to be able to see so that you're kind of aware of what is going on in an encounter, and you can respond in an appropriate way. Uh, if there's abilities that like maybe if you're less experienced or less comfortable playing, or you're two boxing or something, you can always go and make like an in-game audio trigger, like EQ button actions audio triggers. I have a few set up here. And if there's like a certain emote or ability that you really cannot miss or it will kill you, um, like this this one right here, a lava spirit starts to prime itself. If you're unfamiliar with that, uh, when a lava spirit primes itself, you have to run away from it because it will explode, and if you're too close, it'll just kill you, right? So things like that, audio triggers are pretty useful for, but for most stuff, having a chat window set up to see when a mob does an ability is pretty good. Um, Other things I see a lot from people's UIs is like, if you look in the center here, I have my character's HP bar, I have my target window with the debuffs, and it has like a built-in target of target. I have my cast bar right above it, and I have my group's HP. Um, So that way, if I'm fighting mobs and killing mobs or whatever and just like playing the game, all of this information is like really useful to see. And I'm on my bard here, so I just have like my discipline window, but normally if I'm on like another character, this is where my pet window would be with my pet's HP. Um, and like having all of this really important information kind of grouped up in one space on your screen means that like your eyes don't have to look around. So like if you follow my cursor here, I'll see a lot of people, they'll have like their HP bar like up in the corner over here, and then their target window is like over here, and their group window is like in the bottom left corner. And that's all stuff that you want to be able to see really easily and not have to have your eyes like dart around the screen constantly. Um, so that's like another little tip. Um, a couple really useful macros that I use pretty much on every single character is I have one that does hide corpse all and hide corpse looted. And so what this does is it'll hide every corpse, except for your own corpses, and then it will turn on hide corpse looted, which makes it so that if you loot a corpse, whenever you're done looting the corpse, it'll disappear off of your screen, which is really useful, um, because there's a lot of mobs that will drop like quest items, or like it'll drop just stuff that isn't worth picking up. And being able to loot a mob, loot the items that you want from it, and then like hit escape to stop looting, and then not accidentally like re-click the same corpse 20 times in a row. Um, Hide corpse looted is really good for that. And then I also have another macro that's kind of the opposite of that, of hide corpse none, hide corpse looted, um, where, you know, sometimes, like, if you're not the one designated to loot for your group or raid or whatever, or like if you're doing and like, you know, like on this is my like guy that I loot stuff on when I duo, right? So all of his bags are clear, and um, you know, like most people will loot on one character. Um, but sometimes you like find an item that you want to loot on your other character, or like you're not looting, whatever. Being able to hit a macro that will show all of the corpses, um, and then, you know, hide see looted, so you can just kind of click through the corpses and find it pretty quickly, is really, really useful to be able to do that. It's also useful because sometimes there's issues where, like, if you're far away from a mob when it dies, its corpse might, like, be in the floor or something, and being able to hit your, you know, hide corpse all, hide corpse none macro will fix that a lot of the time. Um, so yeah, that's a pretty useful thing to have. And then just like a generic like slash core macro to either drag other people, and a thing that a lot of people don't know is that on this server you can actually drag uh, NPC corpses a short distance, and that can be useful sometimes if you're like underwater, or like if a mob corpse is like bugged out for whatever reason, being able to just pull it to yourself is pretty good. And like you can't drag them like that far, at, as you can see, but having the ability to do it when you need to is pretty good. Um, Another thing I wanted to mention was some keybind stuff that's pretty useful to have set up because it makes your life a lot easier. Big thing is targeting stuff. So having something to cycle through nearest NPCs, this is kind of like what a lot of people call tab targeting, because I think that's like the default keybind in like WoW and other games or whatever. Mine is caps lock because I'm weird, but you can hit the button and it will just, you know, cycle through the mobs that are near you and like in line of sight or whatever. Um, Having a button to target the nearest NPC. The default bind for this is F8, which is kind of miserable to hit, so I have mine also set to tilde, the little key next to ones. I can just hit that and, you know, target the thing in front of me really quickly. And then the other thing that's really useful is toggle last two targets. So that way, I mean, there's a lot of use cases for this. Like if you're an enchanter and you want to like pre-target two mobs in a pull that you know you're going to need to mez. Um, if you're a healer and you know you want to have the mob targeted and hit the mob, um, and then have like a rampage tank targeted, for example, being able to switch between those two is really useful. Um, there's just a lot of good use cases for it. Generally recommend having it set up. It'll make your life easier. Uh, Another thing is the default bind for disbanding from group is Control D, which is pretty, if you're like a normal person and you use WASD to move, it's pretty easy to accidentally hit that. So I just changed mine to something where I'm not gonna like constantly drop group by accident. Um, and then another big thing is I use binds to open and close all of my bags at the same time. Um, I think that is a really useful thing to have. There might be, I think the inventory bags toggle works in this client too. Um, Me having one for open and close is kind of just a habit from playing like other emulators with older clients where that doesn't work. And then, having your bags set up in a way so that they're not overlapping and you can, see the stuff in your inventory that you want to see to maybe swap something in or click an item is really useful. And it can be good if you don't want to like clutter up your hotbars with like a billion clickies and you just want to like hit a button, open your bag, click your buff item, and then close it. That's what I do. Uh, and I think that's most of the like important keybind stuff that I can think of that isn't default, just off the top of my head. Um, I just have A and D to strafe always. So I turn with my mouse almost exclusively, but I know some people don't like that. Having duck on a easy to hit button is really nice. Because you can duck to interrupt a spell cast. Sometimes you're like stuck on something. Um, it also fixes like if you're bugged and can't trade somebody, or like bugged and looting a corpse. Like there's a lot of things that you can fix by just duck, unduck, and then like maybe jump. Um, the stop casting a spell keybind is something I set up recently. I don't think this exists in some of the older clients. So a lot of people just duck and unduck out of habit, but having the like stop cast button is faster and kind of more responsive from that, and you don't have to worry about like ducking and you know you forget to unduck or you get stuck or something. Um, Other than that, some other useful like options and UI setup stuff is in options in the general tab. I turn off auto duck and I turn off auto stand. Auto stand can be kind of useful. It's kind of a personal preference thing, but I pretty much would never have auto duck enabled for any reason. It is almost exclusively going to fuck you over in a lot of situations that don't make sense because I don't know, man, it's EverQuest. Um, but yeah, if you want like the exact UI I'm using, I think it's posted and pinned in the UI section of the Dalaya Discord. Um, One other minor caveat is I don't think target of target works in the default UI unless you're in a group with 3 or more people, but if you have a custom UI that just has it built into the target window, it works. I'm not entirely sure why, but it's a useful bit of information. Anyways, hopefully you found something in this video useful, and yeah, I don't know, log in, dude.